This is a 1.5 year old established saltwater nano reef tank. Fluval's genius design, all this salt that has accumulated is at severe jeopardy. Why does this tank not have an algae problem? It's 2020. It's time to triple check. The algae will die. What is up, A1A fam? Today we are going to go over the differences of a clean tank and a dirty one. This is the Fluval Evo 5-gallon saltwater aquarium that has not had a water change in 1 month and has not scrubbed this tank in just 1 month. Leaving the light cycle on a pretty gentle 4 to 6 hour light cycle a day. And as you can see, our timer right down here only permits it to be on from 2:30 to 8. So that's 5.5 hours. Look what this does in a month. 5.5 hours with a 12,000 K light. And it does keep coral up to par, I must say, but also enhances the growth of the algae in here. That does tend to clog up the filter reservoir. It is a semi-open top that is about to take a bath itself. Clean off all this algae, a little bit of coralline algae on top, but having that accessibility to an open top keeps it evaporating pretty frequently. And we do keep an aerator in here for the specific reason of the algae bloom. We did have fish at one point when we weren't paying attention to how much algae was in here. Also, it's a very gentle flow that it does get from a smaller submersible pump for a 5-gallon tank. So nonetheless, that gentle flow can be disturbed pretty easily. Not to mention the tank's length and design, it is harder for that light flow to travel from this side of the tank all the way to the other side. So if you do keep any coral or plan on keeping anything over in this vicinity over here, pay attention that it's gonna get very little current unless you do what we did in our other coral tank and add another little submersible pump. The same one that basically is in the back section of that Fluval Evo 5, but we just added it into this tank. So we have 2 spouts going this way, blowing current, as well as a spout hooked up to this box. It blows this way. So there's 3 spouts, 3 different directions of current in this coral tank. Now this coral tank is a Fluval Flex. The Fluval Flex, which is a 9-gallon, I believe. It's just under a 10-gallon. And we have converted this freshwater Fluval Flex tank from its stock hood and the stock lighting that it already comes with into an open top saltwater coral reef aquarium. Not using Fluval's genius design or products other than the tank and filtration itself, but we added our own coral reef light. Fluval also makes their own brand, which is amazing. It's the Fluval C Nano clip-on LED light, which is great too. However, the one we chose was just a little convenient for the time of purchase. Now, this tank they make is no different whatsoever in design from their freshwater series, other than the light fixture itself, right here, which doesn't only restrict you to this one coloration. It's like an off-white, blue, purple combination. There is a touch button up here, which is very sensitive. However, if you notice, all this salt that has accumulated on top of the light bar here now has restricted our touchability to turn on and off this light. So it normally goes into a bright blue night mode, but that now has been taken away from us thanks to the salt. So you have a choice. You can do a water change every single day of your life, or you can keep the lights off forever to avoid algae. Or if you do get the algae with only a gentle light cycle, just add an aerator and you will enter the life of salt evaporation. So pick your poison, because with our experience with this tank, we've endured at least one of all the above. We've now also had this tank for 1.5 years. So this is a 1.5 year old established saltwater nano reef tank. So I'm going to go ahead and do a water change, give this tank some TLC. We're going to come back to a fresh, vibrant, healthy tank. I'm going to add the water. We also use Fluval brand phosphate filter sponges, which also helps control the level of phosphates in your tank, which also can contribute to algae blooms such as this. And this tank right here always gets TLC. I'd say double the amount of TLC as the other tank. However, this tank gets a water change every 2 weeks. The other tank gets a water change every 3 to 4 weeks. But why does this tank not have an algae problem? But then you have this tank that's at severe jeopardy. Goodness. Well, let me tell you, having a light with a programmable timer and strength to adjust the level of brightness and intensity that you will be projecting on whatever you put in your tank makes a humongous difference and allows you to manually control how much light you are feeding your fish and coral. I mean, it's not a bad product by any means, but just, we can't tame you down. Literally, we can't tame you. All right, so I'm just gonna pull, watch out, Mr. Shrimp. I'm gonna pull this whole entire coral rack that we used to use up and out of here. I just wanna look at it. That's gonna fall off in the back. Okay, look. Oh, all that algae can kill a whole tank of fish. And this is awesome. I mean, if you wanna grow little coral frags and you wanna keep them up high towards the light, having a little rack like this is awesome, but once again, you don't need that if you can adjust the different levels and different areas of light in your tank. You can move these little frags and corals that you need to where they need to be in higher intensity spots in the tank. It's like grilling meat. You have a hot spot. You have a cool spot on the grill. Same with growing coral. I'm proud of myself. That was actually a pretty good analogy. All right, let's put you down here. Oh, good. There's a floating algae ball in there. That's like what you buy in the freshwater fish section at the store. Like those moss balls. All right, I got a lot of work to do. Let's clean this sucker up. Look at this. When you're ooh, he tried to attack me. He tried to attack me. He seriously is trying to bite me. I was going to say, when you're too big for your britches, watch out. Because the seaweed crab, they try to bite. Who are you? You guys, the clumps of algae coming off is insane. Okay, so the walls of the tank are clean. I went in there with this little toothbrush and started scrubbing the rocks. I'm actually going to take the rocks out. I mean, I'm like 70, that's all floating algae, by the way. I turned the pumps off, but they're about 75% clean. I'm actually going to use a heavy duty nail scrubber, and I'm going to go ahead and do this in the sink and just get rid of all the algae. Forget it. At least 90% of the algae is going to be gone. See, it doesn't even look that bad. This is before and this is after. They do need a good scrubbing. 3 down, 1 to go. We're getting somewhere already, and we gotta do a serious siphoning to do a water change on this tank. Algae blues. This is what it looks like when this is what it should look like. Make sure I have all my fingers and toes before I dump this water.
All my fingers and toes.
Before I dump this yucky water, just so there's no fish in there. Double check, that's the 90s. It's 2020, it's time to triple check. Time to top this baby off with some salt water. Despite the editing, just to give you a rough idea, a raw idea on how long this took, I've been at this for about 45 minutes now. And when I dumped the water in, apparently some weird carcass of some sort floated out, because now the shrimp is eating whatever floated out from the cracks of one of those rocks. Savage. Looking at this, then looking at this. Jeez, I want to just toss this and throw this out. I'd throw away nothing. This was awesome to make, and I feel like I can use it in the future. Just make wise choices, people. A quick solid rinse and scrub with the top. Reinstall the top, which entails just putting it back on. So we are about to flip the switch on to a whole new tank. Then we'll be ready to add new fish too. Boom! That looks 10 times better. Maybe even 100. What do you think? Where'd you go? This is how it should look. Okay, so to a probable question you may have is, now how do I control these algae levels if I want to purchase this tank? Well, you still can have your cake and eat it. You can still buy a complete saltwater kit such as this, the Fluval Evo 5. Have your coral light to still grow your coral. It's just taking observation to the intensity of the light and the effect it has on your tank. Now, like I said, light goes on at 3, shuts at 8. Oh, that's right. I shut the power switch, so that kind of paused that. It kind of set it off for 45 minutes now, because now I have to reset it. But like I said, on a roughly 5-hour cycle. So what we're gonna do is, let's change this to, let's make it from 5 to 8, or 4:30 to 8. So we're reducing the cycle, which in turn will lessen the algae. I can't get over how clean this tank looks. This is how it looked the day we brought it home, the day we set it up. It stayed like this for a while. And if you have somewhat of a lighted room, you don't need to keep these lights on for long at all, especially if you're just gonna display them for company or you wanna just turn it on just for it to look nice in the evening. Dude, just keep it off then. Keep it off. Let this sucker run for like an hour a day, you're good. And if algae ever takes over too much, you could just turn this light off entirely for about a week to maybe 10 days. But I do like for my fish to have, somewhat of light every single day. I think it's good for their psychological well-being. If fish have brains, I don't know. Just keeps them happy, I feel, right? Look at that smile. Now time to add these beauties. And another fact, not to mention when you add fish and you're feeding fish food in here, and it's not just kind of snails and hermit crabs cleaning the rocks and the algae and the little debris that is in there, you will add a different level to the water. So pay attention to your nitrates and nitrites. All right, so these new little guys have been ready for a couple minutes now. So let's do the dang thing and get them in their new tank. All right, so I got these guys in this little bin here. We're gonna dump them into this bin here using the net. All right, we are ready. Saved all that stuff from getting in there, thank goodness. We didn't want any of that. Okay, looks like we are set. All right, and now for the big release. Let's go. Into the water. All right.
Here we go. Be free, my little school of new little gems, and I get a little tangled up in this net here. All right. Go, be free, every single one of you. Awesome. Awesome.
And they dwell on the rocks, just like the gobies. Look at that. Oh, these guys are gonna be really cool. You guys, you're just like the little gobes. Welcome to your new little tank. I'm gonna let these guys settle in. I have to run out to the store really quick. They look to be doing okay. They're kind of hanging out, finding their own spot on the rocks, trying to stay away from that crusty little crab right there, that grumpy son of a gun. So, yeah, guys, just stay tuned and we'll check back in a little bit. It'll only be a couple seconds for you guys, about a half hour for me. Oh, cuteness. 24 hours later, and this is what the tank looks like. All the fish are doing absolutely beautiful, and they've already eaten actually before, and they look like they're begging to eat again. And just a quick rundown, I mean, this tank is only going to stay about this clear, I would say, for the next 3 to 4 weeks. You are looking at frequent water changes for your pets. So make sure you either buy one of those magnetic scrubbing brushes, or you just get some cheap sponges on hand. Either will do the trick and will work as a great tool to help keep that algae level low. Very moderate and rationed feedings for your fish that live in the tank, just in order to keep the levels maintained at a regular basis. Make sure you stay on top of those nitrates and nitrites and do your water changes. And if you have any general questions, feel free, comment below. Thank you so much for watching this tank cleanup, the setup that it has, as well as what it entails to have a small saltwater nano fish tank. So we are going to get down to business and feed these little fishies, and you don't want to miss out on this tank on how all this coral is going to grow. So do us both a favor, smash that like button on this video. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Make sure that notification bell is turned on, just so you don't miss a darn thing. It will alert you every single time that we post a new video, which includes going outdoors, going fishing, catching fish, and feeding our fish. So you don't want to miss a thing. Stay tuned for more videos to come. Oh my goodness, look at this crab. It goes crazy when I feed. Oh my goodness, what? This crab is going crazy. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss anything. And just like this crab's doing right now, staying insane and adventurous, you guys do the same out there. As always, stay adventurous. A1A Adventures.